Berserk's top 5 most gruesome scenes ever. Alright, let's be real. The only happy ending in Berserk is the one you get when you finally put the manga down and go touch some grass. Kentaro Miura wasn't just writing a dark fantasy, he was conducting a symphony of suffering with a troll-sized grin on his face. Today, we're staring deep into that abyss to rank the top 5 most messed up scenes ever. These are the moments that don't just make you feel sick, they get burned into your brain forever. Welcome, fellow degenerates, to another episode of Why Do We Read This Again? If you're here, you already know Berserk isn't a fun little adventure. It's legendary for its gorgeous art, sure, but it's infamous for its unflinching dive into human misery. We're talking a non-stop parade of body horror, violence, and psychological damage that makes most dark fantasy look like a Saturday morning cartoon. But what makes a Berserk scene truly gruesome? Is it just the gallons of blood? Nah, we're anime fans. We're desensitized to that. It's the emotional damage. It's that perfect cocktail of visceral horror mixed with the soul-crushing impact it has on characters you've grown to love. It's the why behind the gore that gives it a weight you just can't shake. So today we're counting down the 5 scenes that represent Miura's genius at its most terrible. Massive, series-defining spoiler warning is in full effect. This is your last chance to click away and watch a cat video. I won't blame you. Still here? You absolute madman. Let's do this. Number 5. Griffith's torture. Kicking off our list at number 5 is the scene that proves you don't need a giant sword to ruin someone's life. All you need is a basement and a really bad attitude. I'm talking about Griffith's 1-year all-inclusive stay at the Hotel California of Pain. So, for context, Guts just beat Griffith in a duel and rage quit the band of the Hawk. Griffith, in the middle of a catastrophic mental breakdown, sleeps with the princess. This one move nukes his career and lands him in a dungeon where the king basically tells a guy, hey, break him, break everything, just keep him breathing. What happens next is a full year of agony that is genuinely difficult to read. Miura shows us everything. They sever his tendons, so holding a sword is a distant memory. They yoink his fingernails. They turn his charismatic, army-leading tongue into a fleshy stump. And they peel his skin off, bit by bit, leaving him looking less like a man and more like a piece of beef jerky. The visual reveal, when the Hawks finally find him, is an all-time holy moment. He's a skeleton in a helmet. But the real gruesomeness is what it does to his mind. Griffith, the Falcon of Light, the guy whose ambition had its own gravitational pull, is reduced to nothing. He loses his hope, his body, his future, and even has the ultimate skill issue when he tries to off himself and is literally too weak to do it. This scene is number 5 because it's the villain origin story to end all villain origin stories. It's the slow, quiet horror that demolishes Griffith's humanity and sets the stage for the absolute catastrophe he's about to unleash. Number 4. The troll atrocities in Enoch Village. Coming in hot at number 4, if you thought the torture was bad, Miura basically looked at the audience and said, hold my G-pen. This is when Berserk decides to go full-on taboo speedrun mode. The troll infestation of Enoch Village. Guts and his new party roll up to this village to find it under siege by trolls. And these aren't your dumb, lovable Shrek types. Miura draws these things as primal, disgusting monsters. At first, they're just eating people, which is standard Berserk. But then the horror cranks up to 11 when you realize their main goal is sexual violence. The manga graphically depicts the trolls capturing and raping the village women with a level of detail that makes you want to throw the book across the room. And just when you think it can't get any worse, Miura being Miura says, LOL, Farnese and Casca, hiding in the troll's den, watch the aftermath. They see victims being eaten, and then, in one of the most grotesque panels in manga history, a victim stumbles forward, her stomach convulses, and it rips open as a monstrous troll baby bursts out. Thanks, Miura. I hate it. The gore is off the charts, but the psychological damage is the real kicker. For Farnese, her sheltered religious worldview just shatters. For Casca, who is still reeling from her own trauma, it's a living nightmare that dredges up everything she's trying to forget. This scene earns its spot for being uniquely foul. It's not some grand, epic tragedy. It's a dirty, grimy, and deeply personal horror that explores trauma in a way that is both incredibly harrowing and impossible to forget. Number 3. The Berserker Armor. Number 3 isn't a single event. It's a recurring, self-inflicted nightmare. It's a piece of equipment. The ultimate, fuck it, we ball button. The sales pitch is great. You get to ignore pain and fight past your limits. The fine print? Oh, it just forcibly holds your broken body together while hijacking your brain and turning you into a feral rage monster. It's the ultimate double-edged sword. The first time Guts properly unleashes it, we see the true cost. The armor shoots tiny spikes into his skin, going full-on chiropractor from hell and crunching his broken bones back into place. His body is a wreck, but the armor puppeteers his limbs, forcing him to keep fighting. Blood is literally jetting out of the gaps in the plate. He ceases to be Guts and becomes a mindless beast with glowing red eyes that can't tell friend from foe. The visual of our hero being stapled together by his own suit is horrifying. But the real tragedy is what it represents. The armor is the physical manifestation of his inner beast of darkness. Every time he puts it on, he's gambling with his own sanity. It's the ultimate cope cage. Guts needs the armor to protect his new family, but the armor itself wants to turn him into a monster that would tear them to pieces, as we see when he almost kills Casca in a blind rage. And it has a permanent cost. His sight is fading, his taste is gone, his hands shake. The tool he uses to struggle is slowly destroying him. The Berserker armor is Guts' curse made metal. The price of strength is a gruesome, ongoing act of self-destruction. Deep breaths. We're entering the top 2, and trust me, the pain train has no brakes. If you've made it this far without having an existential crisis, congratulations, you're a true struggler. And if you're enjoying this guided tour through hell, why not subscribe and ring the bell? What's one more bad decision? Let us know in the comments which scene personally broke you. Now, back to the suffering. Number 2. Rosine's War Games. At our number 2 spot, we have the arc that probably put Miura on several government watch lists, the Lost Children arc. This is where Berserk stops knocking on the taboo door and just kicks it down with a steel-toed boot. Meet Rosine, a tragic little girl who, to escape an abusive home, wished she could live in a fairy tale. As an apostle, she got her wish, creating a quote-unquote paradise by kidnapping local kids and turning them into insectoid pseudo-apostles, her own personal quote-unquote elves. The visual of these bug-eyed, winged children is disturbing enough, but the real gruesomeness is when Guts and a young girl named Jill witness Rosine's quote-unquote games. In a field littered with corpses, These elf children have mock battles that are anything but. They gleefully impale each other, tearing their friends apart in a sickening parody of childhood play. It's a battlefield of mangled kids. The scene hits peak nausea with the, quote, adult attack. One of the elf kids sprouts a giant stinger and brutally skewers another child. It's a moment of shocking violence with horrifying undertones, made infinitely more disturbing because it's children doing this to each other. It is the absolute corruption of innocence, a child's escapist dream turned into a literal blood-soaked nightmare. And the psychological fallout is immense. This arc forces Guts into the impossible position of having to slaughter these children to get to Rosine. We have to watch him become the monster they fear, cutting them down as they cry for their moms and dads. The whole thing is a tragedy from top to bottom, making it an unforgettable, soul-scarring experience. Number 1. The Eclipse. Look, you knew it was coming. We all knew it was coming. Number 1 isn't just a scene. It's a cultural reset button for human suffering. It is, of course, the eclipse, the moment that has single-handedly funded more therapy sessions than any other event in manga history. The setup is legendary. A broken, mute Griffith, fresh out of the Pain Hotel, uses his Behelit and summons the God Hand. His price for power? The lives of every single one of his friends in the Band of the Hawk. What a guy. They're all branded for sacrifice, and what follows is a one-way trip to hell. The visual horror is absolute. An army of demons that look like H.R. Geiger's sketchbook threw up descends on the Hawks. Every character we spent the entire Golden Age arc loving gets torn apart, eaten, and mutilated in a non-stop, feature-length buffet of cruelty. Judo, Pippin, Corcus, all of them die screaming. But the physical carnage is just the appetizer. The real main course of misery, the thing that cements this as number 1, is the psychological devastation. Guts is pinned down, forced to watch as a newly reborn Griffith, the demon god Femto, brutally rapes Casca. It's not about lust. It's a pure, calculated act of spite aimed directly at Guts, the one man who ever made him lose sight of his dream. The fallout is total. Guts loses his arm and his eye. Casca's mind completely shatters, and Guts is left with nothing but a brand that attracts demons 24/7, and a rage so pure it fuels the rest of the series. The eclipse isn't just the death of the Band of the Hawk, it's the death of friendship, hope, and innocence itself. The eclipse is number 1 because it's a perfect storm of every kind of horror imaginable. It has gore, body horror, betrayal, and a sexual assault that leaves permanent, soul-deep scars. It's the moment that defines Berserk, the abyss by which all other dark fantasy is judged. So there you have it, the Mount Everest of messed up moments in manga. Kentaro Miura wasn't just telling a story, he was basically challenging his readers to see how much they could take before looking away. And the crazy part is, we never did. These scenes aren't just shock value, they're the traumatic broken foundations of the entire epic. They're the reason Guts' struggle feels so real and why we root for him to find even a single moment of peace in a world that gave him none. What do you think? Did we get the order right? Is there a scene you think is even worse? Scream about it in the comments below. And if you want more deep dives into things that will make you question your life choices, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for struggling with us.